Welcome. My name is Jay Borger, Monroe County Maintenance Manager from Engineering District 50. Along with me today, I have Nick Martino, Roadway Programs Coordinator for Monroe County. Our presentation today for Innovations of Maintenance is our Monroe County Street to Feet Litter Campaign, also known as Pocono 3C, which is a community caring company. Pocono 3C is a program designed to give persons who are homeless or in danger of becoming homeless a job and casework to get back up on their feet. These individuals often face difficulties finding work due to not having an ID or an address, not having a bank account, or having a minor criminal record, to name a few. To help them overcome these obstacles, Pocono 3C provides them with work picking up litter in Monroe County. This not only gives them an income at the end of every day, but provides them an experience and references for a resume. In addition to the job, they will be provided lunch on the days that they work. This program launched June of 2019, involving multi-agencies: Pocono Mountain Visitors Bureau, Monroe County United Way, Monroe County Waste Authority, and Monroe County PennDOT.
Pocono Mountain Visitors Bureau funds the campaign, paying individuals daily with a $50 gift card. United Way identifies the persons who are homeless or in danger of becoming homeless, along with handling the disbursement of funds and preparation of financial services to that participant. The Monroe County Waste Authority helps to identify areas of litter and will be the entity providing transportation to the employees to and from each work location, supervising employees while on the job by using a Waste Authority official. PennDOT identifies areas of litter, provides supplies such as litter bags, gloves, vests, at times traffic control, and removes litter as it is picked. Several results and key takeaways we've seen in the county is a significant reduction of litter countywide. Litter complaints have been reduced throughout the county. 221 individuals have participated in the program. To date, 7,500 bags of trash have been collected. Since the launch of the program, 500 miles of roadway have been addressed. Several participants have re-entered the workforce with full-time employment because of the Street to Feet program. Along with our Adopt a Highway groups, Sponsor a Highway program, and Monroe County maintenance crews, the Street to Feet campaign assists in addressing litter on all routes other than the interstates throughout the county. We would like to show you a video clip from our local news station, WNEP, highlighting our Monroe County Innovation Street to Feet program. At this time, the video will display for you to view.
This will conclude our presentation of the Monroe County Street to Feet program, otherwise known as Pocono 3C. If you have any follow-up questions, please reach out to myself, Jay Borger, or Nick Martino via email or phone number listed. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to the Virtual Innovation Days. My name is Jared McMicken. I'm the County Manager in Bradford County, which is in District 3. Today, we're going to be looking at our Safety Committee initiative that was developed here in the county. 2 years ago, the Bradford County Safety Committee chairperson was trying to figure out what his next initiative would be for the county. Those of you that aren't familiar with county safety committees, yearly they come up with a safety initiative to improve safety in one certain area or multiple areas within the county. In this case, the safety committee chairperson wanted to improve the communication and interaction between the county safety committee and the staff out in the field. He was also looking to increase participation in the county safety committee as the numbers had been down pretty low for the amount of people that were coming to the meetings each month. In looking at the goals to improve safety, the safety chair thought it would be beneficial to visit the crews and discuss safety, as not all personnel are comfortable with discussing safety concerns in a group setting. He relayed that sometimes not all staff can attend the meetings as well, and this would allow field staff to attend the meeting in person in the field, and they could relay real life conditions that are out in the field. We sometimes have meetings and they come in and they try to explain certain situations. Without physically being out there, you can't identify with what they're seeing in the field. This would also give us a chance to recognize on-site issues and evaluate the consistency of certain areas amongst the crews in the county. The initiative started out with basically the safety committee chair going out and visiting the crews. Quickly, we identified that it's probably best that the county manager and the safety committee chair go out to show that we're working together in the county to try to correct safety and ensure safety is in the forefront of everybody's mind. So I had always struggled with getting out into the field to see crews, so I thought this would be a great opportunity for the committee chair and myself to go out and look at items in the field. We had identified that it would take probably 2 days to do this, so together we decided, you know what, we're gonna set the dates during the summer, and we're gonna go out and we're gonna visit the crews and do a county-wide safety inspection on the crews out in the field. So when we went out to see the crews, our goal was to go out and visit the crews through over a 2-day period. Our plan was to discuss safety issues and concerns that the crews had, looking at answering any questions they may have, looking at operational safety of the work being done that day. Where's the crew standing in relation to the operations? Are they using hand signals to back up? Stuff like that. We could discuss safety committee initiatives and ideas at that point, see if there was any initiatives that were being brought to the table. We could complete a safety inspection checklist, which is a P6100 and a P6102. They were done by the safety committee chair on the crew. He would fill them out while we were on site, and then at the end of the day, he would turn all them into me. Any deficiencies or anything noted as a safety violation, we corrected there on the spot. And then I was able to interact with the crew while he was filling out them forms. Implementation. So in 2019, the safety committee chair and I implemented the yearly review of the county to discuss safety and talk to our staff about safety and their initiatives that they may have. We scheduled the field review with the crews, visited the stockpiles, and engaged in operations. We looked at overall safety of the operations, reviewed individual safety, gave us a chance to talk with our staff and gather their concerns. Pictured here is the inspection from last year when we visited our bridge crew, who was actively engaged in a footer pour for a box culvert out on a project. Gave us time to look at the operations, like I said before, as they're actively engaged, and here they're pouring concrete. So you have a lot of moving parts, people around, equipment, cranes, and you could identify if they had any issues in the field with the operation they were doing that day. Documentation. After the initial visit and the overview with each of the crews we stopped and visited, the safety chair was assigned the task of filling out the crew safety inspection or the stockpile safety inspection, depending on where we were. That would give me time to talk to the crew members and pretty much discuss any areas of concerns or questions they had in reference to overall safety of the operations we were doing, or give them a chance to talk about the safety committee and what their initiatives were and what they were doing. We would always focus on safety. There were still the occasional questions, maybe about operations, that I would get being county manager, but we would try to stay focused on safety. I would write them down on a notepad along with writing down other concerns they had so I could get back to them and follow up with them. The safety chair also wrote down questions that he may have gotten, and then we could bring them back and gather them in one location. Next would be the review. After we had time to interact with the crew, we could pull the foreman aside and review what areas we saw that he needed to identify for corrections. We would discuss some of the good things that we saw. We always try to be positive and discuss, maybe some marking the overhead wires with some cones, vehicles that were very clean inside and taken care of, crew cab maybe taken care of. We tried to identify the positive, not just focus on the negative. But we would pull them aside and let them know what we found during the inspections, whether it's labels on cans that needed to be written out better, people using hand signals to help others backing. Maybe you identified someone standing too close to the swing of an excavator. All them things we would cover with the foreman before we left the site. Next are actions. After the 2-day inspections were done, the safety chair and I would sit down and compile the positive areas and the areas identified for improvement. A summary of our review would be shared through various formats. One, an email would go to management and foreman about what we found, both good and bad. We would review it at the next planning meeting amongst the managers. During the next foreman's meeting, we could discuss it with the group of foremen. We could share the information at the safety committee meeting, which seemed to draw most reaction from people, where we could talk about it more in depth, what we found. Then I'd also send a small briefing to my ADE for maintenance and our safety coordinator at the district office. We felt that jointly sharing the information with management and supervisory staff would help promote awareness to everyone to help prevent similar occurrences, or possibly even spark best practices amongst all of us here in the county. Under follow-up, as I talked about before, issues and concerns that were safety related were taken and talked about at the next safety meeting, and also discussed at the next foreman's meeting, where it gave us a chance to discuss the issues or common errors among the supervisory staff that needed attention, and praise some of the foremen for outstanding compliance across the crews. So what were the benefits to the county? We've seen benefits of implementing the safety initiative. It has allowed the county manager and the safety committee crew to easily identify concerns that the county needs further guidance on, or clarification put out by the management for issues. It establishes a meaningful relationship and discussion opportunities to develop a safety culture between the county management and the county safety committee, along with the crews and the foreman. It supports District 3's 24/7 safety culture, allows for crews and foremen to provide their concerns or questions. I can educate staff on our CMMT 7 and 8 and how it relates to accidents and trends, and what areas we're looking to make improvements in with our trends. Employees have provided positive comments to myself and the safety committee chairperson. They thank us for taking the time to visit the crews and ask about their ideas or questions. Committee has also brought forward some new ideas from the suggestions that were gathered in the field that don't always make it to the safety committee because we may not be able to be out there to see them people. Since the process has started, each year the county has identified an area for improvement during the review that we use. Our most recent review identified a change in how we update the county first aid kits. The county has developed a process to ensure they are reviewed twice a year to prevent outdated items, and we utilize that technique during our fall and spring safety days. That concludes the Bradford County initiative. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me, or I can answer them at this time if you have any. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for joining the 2021 Virtual Innovation Days. Today we're going to focus on the innovation of maintenance. My name is Michael Peachy. I am a Senior Highway Maintenance Manager in Cambria County, and today we'll be looking at Cambria County's innovation where they are utilizing the back trailer to flush strip seals and bridge decks in some cases. Just a little background on utilizing the back trailer to flush strip seals. It was first utilized in 2017 in Cambria County. This process has proved to be very efficient and reduce the time to properly flush a strip seal. Spring cleanup, as we know, is very labor intensive. Clean up all the anti-skid from roadways, flush bridge decks, and clean the strip seals themselves. Additionally, on top of the increased proficiency, this past spring, that is, Cambria County received approval through BOMO to flush bridge decks and strip seals over streams that the PA Fish and Boat Commission has designated as stock streams. This authorization has minimized the planning of bridge deck strip seal flushing and allows the crew to complete the work regardless of the stream designation. Some details on the back trailer itself. It's made by Vermeer. 500 gallons of water carried on it. Gross vehicle weight's about 14,000 pounds. Can tow it with a minimum of a single axle dump truck. Estimated cost of about $85,000. Additionally, the Vermeer back trailer is a great tool within the county to clean out inlet boxes and improve drainage as well. Crew size for the flushing strip seals can be reduced to approximately 5 employees, depending on your setup. 2 for safety, 1 to operate the truck, pull it forward, 1 to operate the high pressure wand, and 1 to operate the vacuum hose. Next couple slides, we're going to videos embedded in the PowerPoint. I'm going to show one of them to show you the activity. They're all videos from the different angle of what's going on. But if you're interested in seeing any more of them, please download the PowerPoint after this presentation ends. This photo shows how little material is left after flushing the strip seal along the parapet wall. There's another angle of it. You can see minimal work zone. You can see very little material along the parapet wall. Just 2 operators. One, like I said, 1 for the wand and 1 for the vacuum hose itself. Another view of the operation itself. You see a guy with the rebar there to the left. He has sometimes packed material. He'll get in there and clean it out, loosen it up before spraying it with the wand.
That
This is a great example of how efficient and clean the process flushing the strip seal is. We'll actually watch this video as well and just kind of see how easily everything's done. It sprays right to the vacuum hose. Everything's sucked up in. Nothing's left on the roadway. Sometimes the broom is utilized to, sweep anything that's been flushed up onto the deck, just push it back towards the nozzle. Not truly necessary. The vacuum operator can suck that up as well, but if you have an extra guy, it makes for a quicker process. Finally, this is a photo of a completed strip seal. You can see no material left in the strip seal, very little deposits left on the roadway. Crew was in and out of this strip seal probably within set up the work zone to out of there probably within an hour and a half or 2 hours. This time I can take any questions you may have. Also, if you'd like more information, please feel free to reach out to myself or equipment manager here in Cambria, Jeff Spay. Our contact information is on the last slide. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning and welcome to the Innovations and Maintenance portion of Virtual Innovation Day. My name is Tony Tanzi. I'm the Highway Maintenance Manager for Huntingdon County. Today I'm going to talk about a project that was completed in Huntingdon County, which involved relocating an air hose reel from a CRAFCO trailer to the front of a tandem truck. Doing this made it easier and safer for our crews to perform crack sealing operations. Huntingdon County is divided into 2 assistant county manager areas, one in the north and one in the south. These 2 sections are basically divided by Route 22 that runs through the county from east to west. Each assistant area has a utility crew or a complaint crew that's responsible for completing the majority of the crack sealing operations in that section. In this slide, you'll see a picture of the CRAFCO trailer that I'll be talking about throughout my presentation. Like many good ideas or innovations in maintenance, this idea came straight from the field, from the crews out on the road doing the work. They brought their idea to management for discussion. We then involved the garage to come up with ways and ideas of how to implement the innovation. The problem identified by our crew was that the CRAFCO machine is all self-contained. In this photo, you can see that the air compressor sits on the trailer right in front of the wheels, and then where this plate is beside the compressor is where the air hose reel used to be located. So in order to use the air line, the operator would have to stretch a length of hose off of the hose reel, pull it up alongside of the truck or fasten it to the side of the truck to get it out of the way, and then get out in front of the tandem truck to use the air hose to blow debris out of the cracks on the road. Crack sealing is obviously a mobile operation, and depending on the pavement condition, it can be slow moving or fairly quick moving. Since there's a lot of stopping and starting involved, there can be safety issues with having the air hose on the roadway or strapped to the side of the truck. When on the ground, the hose can be a tripping issue for an operator getting in and out of the truck. If it is attached to the side of the bed of the truck to keep it off of the ground, it can make it more difficult for the operator to get in and out of the truck. Not to mention, dragging a full length of air hose is more physically demanding on the operator during a long, hot day. To expand a little bit on the benefits of having the hose reel on the front of the truck instead of mounted to the trailer of the CRAFCO machine, having it out front gives them an additional length of hose that they can get out in front of the truck. So the photos in this slide right here are taken from the driver's seat of the tandem. In this first photo, you can see how difficult it is to see the top of the person out front running the air line. Whenever you move the hose reel out front, you can get that person further away from the front of the truck because they have additional length of hose. and it makes it much easier for the operator to see the person out front. Now this picture in the middle is actually the location the gentleman was standing when the first picture was taken. So it looks like he's fairly far from the front of the truck, but realistically, you only have a small view of the top of the hard hat from the driver's seat. Now we can talk a little bit about the resolution to our problem. How do we relocate the airline hose reel to the front of the truck? So in order to do that, we need to make some connections to the compressor unit. So they found some pieces of piping that they could use to make a connection to the compressor, fasten it to the side of the trailer, and then connect a flexible airline that runs from that point up over the tongue of this trailer and into the back of our truck. On this slide, we see a couple of pictures of the continuation of the flexible airline, which they ran up along the frame rail of the truck using some zip ties to fasten and secure it to the frame rail to keep it out of the way, and then up and underneath the cab of the tandem. The airline was then run up through the front bumper of the tandem, and then some brackets were made so that they could fasten the hose reel, which you see in this picture, to the front bumper of the tandem. In order to secure the airline out front and to get it up off of the road and make it easier for the person using the air wand to maneuver around, a new bracket was fabricated, which you can see attaches to the plow mount out in front of the truck with a pin so it can be removed when the truck is traveling down the roadway. And then the airline was fastened to that bracket to keep it up off of the road. On this side, you can see pictures of the final product. You can see the airline hose reel mounted to the front bumper, the attachment that was made that hooks up to the plow mount. There's a couple hooks that were added to this attachment to cradle the airline and keep it up off of the roadway. This also helps keep the airline away from the front tires of the truck, and it gives the operator of the truck a visual reference of where the airline is at all times. On this slide, I thought I would include a picture of one of our crews out doing some crack sealing work. Like I said earlier, this idea came from the field. They took ownership of it. They brought the idea into the office, and in the garage did a nice job of coming up with a resolution for it. So you can see the person out front using the air wand out here, out in front of the truck, blowing the debris out of the cracks so that the people in the back can do their part. When somebody comes to you with an idea, often the first question that is asked is, well, how much is that going to cost? What's the benefit of doing this? So for an innovation like this, it was fairly low cost, and there was a couple options that we could have went with in order to accomplish it. The first option was to relocate the existing hose, the hose reel that actually came on the CRAFCO machine, to the front of the truck. So really our only investment would be the new airline that runs through the frame of the truck, the zip ties, the pipe fittings that we needed to make the connections. So in order to do it through option one, we figured the parts cost was only going to be about $125, and the labor was only going to be probably less than 4 hours in our garage. Option two was going to be to purchase a new hose reel to mount to the front of the truck, install the new airline through the frame of the truck, the zip ties, the miscellaneous pipe fittings that we would need to make the connections on both ends. So in order to do it through option two, we figured the cost of the parts would be about $600, and the labor involved would be still less than 4 hours in the garage. To summarize our project and our innovation in Huntingdon, this was a low-cost improvement on a labor-intensive operation. It was all built in-house with parts typically in stock. It improves the safety and the visibility of the operator running the air hose wand. It eliminates a tripping hazard for the truck operator and for crew members, and eliminates the potential for air hose to encroach on the live lane of traffic. Thank you for enrolling in this session today and learning more about the hose line reel relocation project that we did in Huntingdon County. Here's my contact information if anybody would like to reach out for any additional photographs or information on the project that we did. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Hello, my name is Rob Dean. I'm the ADE for maintenance in District 12. Melissa Maxco, our administrative assistant for the district executive, in District 12 and I are going to talk to you a little bit about one of the innovative things that we have done in District 12 with the winter recruitment fairs to try to encourage more applicants to participate in our winter maintenance program here in District 12. So like we said here, some of the challenges that we had, why do we even consider doing this? As we noticed over the last decade, our interest for referrals for applicants for our winter maintenance programs had continually declined. With the onset of other industries that were starting to excel, the interest in our position started to decline. So we had a concern about the safety of the traveling public, as these employees are vital to the success of our operations. They're vital to the success of our main focus of winter maintenance. And we wanted to reach a diverse and complete pool of candidates. We wanted to make sure that we are reaching as far as we can to include the most opportunity to entice others to come and work for District 12 in our winter maintenance program. Safety is always at the forefront of everything we do here at District 12, as well as all over PennDOT. We're concerned with the safety of the traveling public, looking at the continue to keep the roads safe, with our main focus, as everybody here knows, winter maintenance is our most important opportunity that we have to be successful in maintenance. So we looked at, what do we need to do? We need to ensure that our CDL operators have plenty of time to recover as the snow events become more and more. They become consecutive and one right after another. We want to make sure that we have enough folks to do what we need to do. So with the safety in mind, we knew that one of the biggest things that we could do is maintain our focus, that our winter maintenance program has a full complement, and that our employees have every opportunity to be successful throughout the winter season. In addition to the safety of the motoring public and our employees, we want to make sure that we are reaching a diverse population. We want to look at folks from different demographics, different walks of life. And one of the things that we really noticed when we started doing these recruitment fairs is the opportunity we had to reach folks that may not have had internet access, not access to a computer. Our folks that were during the events, and we'll talk a little bit later about, were actually becoming IT experts with helping to reset passwords for email, create email accounts, help them through the application process. Some folks that came to the recruitment fairs did not even know what our winter maintenance program was, that it existed, or how they would fit in. So it was a great opportunity to reach many folks from different walks of life, as well as reach a very diverse pool of candidates for our program.
Hi, I'm Melissa Matsko, the Administrative Assistant to the District Executive in District 12. When we decided to host the recruitment fairs, the first step was getting approval from the District Executive. Then we recruited a team of employees. Next, we developed a strategy to advertise for the event. We hosted the fairs, and then we tracked the results. We recruited a team of employees that helped us the day of the fairs. Our first team was our management team. It consisted of a county manager, assistant county managers, and the equipment managers. The next team was our field staff, and that consisted of a foreman, operator, mechanic, and union representative. And the third team was our office staff. We had a representative from IT, the RPC, clerical staff, and HR staff. Advertising was a crucial step in hosting the fairs. The first step was creating a flyer with the help of central office and getting it approved. Once this flyer was approved, we mailed it and emailed it to all of our local legislators. We placed an ad in all of the local newspapers. We emailed the flyer to all the CDL schools in District 12, along with mailing them a handful of the printouts to distribute to their students. We emailed the flyer to all employees, asking them to share the flyer with family and friends. We emailed it to all of the local career links. We also mailed it to them to distribute it to potential candidates that came into the career links. We emailed and mailed to all local farmer organizations and veteran organizations. Our next method of advertisement was message boards. Message boards were strategically placed on various state routes 2 weeks prior to each fair in each county. This method of advertisement was very well received. Then we used social media. Social media was also well received. We had advertisement on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The day of our recruitment events, when a potential candidate came into the conference room, we asked them to sign in, providing their name, email, how they heard about us, and what position they were interested in. Once we knew what position they were interested in, we directed them to a station. We had several stations set up. The first station was for CDL operators, where we had a foreman and an operator there to answer any questions about the position. Then we had a garage station, which answered any questions for potential tradesmen, mechanics, or welders. Then we had an RPC station. The RPC was able to give information on the radio clerk and the stock clerk positions. We also had a union president there. The union president was able to provide information on the benefits, pension, how much we pay towards the union, any type of question union related, leave, they answered for them. We also had a plow truck outside. The equipment manager let the potential CDL operators sit in the plow truck, get to know it, look around it, and see if it would be something they would be interested in. If any of these candidates were interested after they talked to the station, they then were directed to submit an online application. We had IT set up several laptops throughout the conference room, and we had our clerical staff and our HR staff there to assist them filling out the application. This was very crucial to the success because there were many potential candidates that came in that did not have an email, and we got them access to a Gmail account. They were locked out of their accounts. They just were not computer literate enough to fill out the application. They got so far and they gave up, and we were able to successfully get them through the process. We ended up having an excellent turnout at all of our recruitment fairs. We started off on July 16th with 72 prospective employees. On July 18th, we had 83, and on July 23rd, we had 32. Then we decided to host one more in Greene County on October 16th, where we got an additional 27 prospective employees. There is very little expense to the department for hosting 4 recruitment fairs. We put a lot of time into it, but as far as spending, it was only newspaper ads that really were costly, and newspaper ads actually at the end of it turned out not to be a significant source where people heard about the recruitment fairs, and we decided to eliminate those in the future. Lessons learned. Things that worked very well for us were the message boards, the flyers, the social media, the emails, and the partnering and partnerships that we made during the course of these recruitment fairs. The stations and the staff were very helpful for online applications. The things that we could eliminate were advertising through the newspaper. It was costly and it was not a significant source of advertisement, and paper tracking. We had let people come in and sign their own name and provide their own email address, and we could not always read the candidate's handwriting to follow up and make sure we got their name. So new this year, we decided to have a OneDrive spreadsheet where we could track each candidate, and as the staff welcomes them and they enter each candidate's information electronically. The staff confirms and tracks that the candidate did an on-site application, an on-site interview, and a road test. Any notes are then provided. This is shared with a clerical supervisor, HR, so it is followed through completely. There's no misspellings, the email, everything's checked, and it worked very well this year.
So how do you measure success? As with any new initiative, you want to make sure that what you're doing is as successful as you possibly can. As Melissa talked about, we looked at things that we did in the past as we move forward. But as you look at this slide here, you see that there are employees here that came to the recruitment fairs. They put their application in. They became temporary employees that first winter season, and now 2 years later, they are full-time employees. This is just a small selection of the very valuable employees that we have that now work for District 12 that came through the recruitment fairs. We look forward to the recruitment fairs that we're currently holding now and looking forward to success for them in the future. Here's the information for Melissa and myself. If you have any questions, feel free to pick up the phone and give us a call, shoot us an email with any questions. If you saw something that we did that was of interest, if we could help you out with anything in your county or district, be glad to help out with some of the lessons that we've learned and the opportunities that we see for the future. So with that, we'll be glad to take any more questions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Ebley. I am the Assistant District Executive for Maintenance in Engineering District 4, and I'm proud to present to you today our virtual innovation entitled the Virtual Incident Command Center. Our presentation outline includes the overview of the innovation, the transportation challenge that we addressed with the innovation, where our innovation has been used, what worked well for us and what didn't work so well, cost and benefit information, our lessons learned and best practices, and lastly, we'll discuss the adaptations and modifications due to COVID-19. Under normal operations, our district's Incident Command Center is traditionally staffed by 6 personnel in person: a district manager, an incident commander, a deputy commander, our CRC officer, building maintenance personnel, and a Pennsylvania State Police trooper. Travel to the district office is required. In March of 2020, COVID-19 forced us into a telework scenario. Nobody was permitted within our building, yet we still needed to perform our situational awareness during winter snow events. That's where our innovation originated. We needed to take a detour and figure out a way to still maintain situational awareness while activating our Incident Command Center remotely. That's what brings us to our virtual innovation. And it's really a virtual Incident Command Center. In the simplest form, all of our staff that was traditionally in the office in our Incident Command Center is now at home in a telework scenario. So it requires no staff in our building. No travel is required to the district office or any other location. And we've actually noticed increased communications during our telework scenario. The challenges addressed by our innovation include maintaining Incident Command Center situational awareness during COVID-19 telework, and maintaining communication both with our internal customers and external customers while in telework. Working from home due to COVID-19 drove the need for us to adapt our in-person Incident Command Center to a virtual Incident Command Center. This started in March of 2020 when we started teleworking from home. However, the potential remained for winter weather in March and April of 2020. Therefore, we performed dry runs utilizing our Skype wall for Incident Command Center activations virtually. Our Skype wall is basically an open line that our operators can communicate amongst each other while also receiving incoming calls to our TMC line. The first virtual activation was on April 1st of 2020, and it was a snow event. All activations since then have been virtual. That includes multiple activations for hurricanes this year that we've experienced. We should also note that other districts have been very successful with virtual Incident Command Center activations, from what we understand. So what worked well for us during our virtual Incident Command Center activations? We had the safety of telework, where we didn't have our staff traveling to and from the district office during inclement weather. The Skype wall performed very well for us, along with Skype software overall. It allowed us to maintain communications with an open line and still be able to receive incoming calls from the field. As we are transitioning into Microsoft Teams, we are learning the many more capabilities that Teams presents for us to store our files and collaboratively communicate within Microsoft Teams. District 4's full transition date is in November of this year into Microsoft Teams. So we were looking forward to utilizing Teams in our new innovation. We also had the ability to quickly add staff during an event that required additional personnel. Really, at any time, we could add a second Incident Command Center operator or a TMC operator if our phone lines got extremely busy during the height of a storm. So there are a few things that didn't work well for us. One thing was software licensing issues related to our cameras. We had an issue with several people being logged on at the same time and getting logged out due to too many licenses being used. Our TMC backup operators needed additional training because what we found when they were in the office, they were relying on the other staff that was there. So we did provide that additional training needed so that they can independently operate. And we did have some issues with phone transferring at the beginning of our virtual Incident Command Center activations, but that has since been worked out. We performed a basic cost savings analysis to determine how much we think we saved by not having anyone travel to the district office that was utilizing a state-issued vehicle. We utilized the FHWA reimbursement of 56 cents per mile and basically determined that we think we saved about $3,100 in vehicle mileage, wear and tear, and gas. We also have secondary benefits related to the safety of our employees and overall utility savings for our building. Our staff didn't have to travel during a storm. They didn't have to travel home when tired after a long shift. We didn't have any slip, trip, or fall injuries at our district office. And we were able to reach more of our staff in our design, construction, and maintenance units. Overall, we had employee time savings, and our employees were happy. Lastly, our utility savings related to the building. We used less electric, heat, and water. We do have several lessons learned and best practices to share with everyone. Internet and power outage issues could cause a problem for a virtual Incident Command Center. Therefore, you should always have a backup operator that's located in a different geographical area. Because if you have a power outage in one county, another county may be up and running, and you could easily switch to another operator that's located there. In District 4's case, we had operators that live close to the district office and would be able to travel in and operate on generator power if we had any power outage issues in District 4. Also related to Skype, the default settings when you're sharing your screen do not allow you to receive incoming calls. So you will need to shut that function off within Skype. Shut the Do Not Disturb mode off. Some of our best practices with this innovation include the safety of our employees, the enhanced safety overall, our ability to bring on an extra operator during the height of an event. Also, our operators are logging on a half an hour early to prepare for the event. This allows them to work through any IT-related issues or any connectivity issues. We've also noticed increased communication between our county managers, our field staff, and the state police. All of these personnel have been noticed calling into our Incident Command Center and participating in active communication. Our adaptations due to COVID-19 are really credited to the virtual nature of this innovation. It improved safety because we had no close contacts or possible exposures. Everyone was in a telework scenario. And we also had no travel during the height of a storm. We had ongoing AARs, meaning our staff maintained an AAR sheet virtually while they were activated. This gave them real-time information and provided time savings when we went to complete the AAR after the storm, because a lot of the information was already compiled. One of our most important and proud moments of the Virtual Incident Command Center is the interaction between our design, construction, and maintenance staff that's been involved in our Incident Command Center. Really, it's given everyone in the building an opportunity to participate and to be involved in PennDOT's winter operations. This concludes our presentation for our Virtual Incident Command Center in Engineering District 4. I'd like to thank all of our staff who prepared this presentation and continue to make our Incident Command Center activations successful. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Wright. I am a traffic safety engineer with PennDOT's Local Technical Assistance Program, or LTAP. And this morning I'd like to talk to you about the LTAP Build a Better Mousetrap program. The Build a Better Mousetrap competition was initiated by the National LTAP Association in 2010, and PennDOT has been participating in it since then. The whole purpose of it is to collect and disseminate real-world examples of best practices, tips from the field, and other processes that people use to efficiently take care of their roads, and really take these innovative ideas and be able to transfer them to other places so people can share in these innovations. It also recognizes the people who submit these ideas for their creativity and their hard work. The example you see in the photo on the right is a telescopic brush cleaner for LED traffic signals that was developed by Upper Providence Township in Montgomery County. Submissions could be a variety of different types. They could be different tools, processes, equipment modifications that help reduce costs, increase efficiency, increase safety for workers and all road users, and improve the quality of transportation on local roads. The example that you see there on the right is a high pressure undercarriage sprayer that was developed by Sotera Township in Dauphin County. The competition is an annual process. It's open for submission from January to March each year. We get notices out through newsletters, flyers, the websites, also during our classes. We allow both online or mail-in submissions. And then when the submissions are collected, they will be reviewed and ranked by the LTAP Advisory Committee. There's an example application from Upper Mount Bethel Township, Northampton County. We have 4 broad categories that you can submit to the competition for. The first is data collection and asset management, sustainability, design and construction methods, and new tools, applications, or equipment. The example that you see on the right there is a salt shed entrance curtain from Whitehall Township in Lehigh County. In the 2020 competition, PennDOT LTAP received 14 submissions, and that's pretty typical for a year. We get anywhere from 10 to 15 submissions from around the state. The submissions are ranked on the cost, the savings and benefits, ingenuity, transferability, and effectiveness. The rankings are done by the LTAP Advisory Committee. The LTAP Advisory Committee is made up of representatives from all over the state of different townships and boroughs, police officers, and others as part of the LTAP program. And so they rank them on all these different factors and select a winner and 2 runner-ups each year. The example that you see on the right is from Monroe in Allegheny County, and they developed a forklift pipe loading attachment to help them with pipes. In 2020, the first place award went to Lower Heidelberg Township in Berks County. They developed a blacktop and shoulder stone paver. They had issues when repairing shoulders that they had to hand shovel and rake the material, which caused an uneven surface, and also the extra shoveling and raking that they had to do could cause back injuries. So they were kind of concerned about that and developed a paver that allows them to set an even height, which eliminates that wavy road surface on the shoulder and helps create safer driving conditions. They also, with this attachment, were able to minimize the amount of work that they had to do by hand. They basically felt that it would take about 30 minutes to do a section of road by hand, and with the new attachment they were able to do it in 6 to 8 minutes. So it was a time savings, a cost savings, also reduced the potential for back injuries for them. And it cost them about $1,950 to actually make the attachment. So for a small investment, they were able to save a lot of time and money over the next few years in doing this type of work. A 2020 runner-up was from Upper Mount Bethel Township in Northampton County. They developed a signpost driver. They had an initial signpost driver that was actually about 2 inches long that would extend into the signpost, and they found that when they were driving the post into the rocky soil that they have up there, that it would kind of bend and distort, and they would end up wasting a lot of posts. So they actually developed one here that you see in the photo that is actually 9 inches long, that extends much further down into the signpost and absolutely increases the stability and the probability of driving the post into that rocky soil. The main savings that they get from this is they're actually haven't wasted any post since they've actually used this new signpost driver. Another 2020 runner-up was from London Grove Township in Chester County. They got a salt spreader storage rack. So again, they had a problem with having the salt spreaders lying around in their garage, and they developed an efficient rack on the side wall that allowed them to quickly remove and install the salt spreaders, and then when they were done, they could quickly put them back out of the way up on the wall. So used empty wall space instead of having some of these devices laying around. And using the machine that they can have, only one person was actually need to load or remove the salt spreaders from the rack. The national competition is also sponsored annually, and each year the states submit their winning entries to the national competition. This includes all states and tribal entities from around the U.S., and they develop annual awards. You can see the 2021 and the previous annual awards on the website that's listed there for the national LTAP. BABM stands for Build a Better Mousetrap there. This competition has been going on since 2010, so there's a lot of different ideas in these booklets that, you know, even though from other states, there's a lot of processes and thoughts and tools and trips and tricks and techniques that people can take from these other organizations and bring to yours. One proud moment for Pennsylvania was in 2019. The winner here in Pennsylvania was East Brandywine Township from Chester County for the rolling rack for salt spreader storage. And they submitted that here in Pennsylvania and it won, and then we submitted it nationally and they were a 2019 National Award winner. So thank you very much for your attention. That was a nice overview of PennDOT LTAP's Build a Better Mousetrap competition. It's something that we think has been very successful in getting people to generate new ideas and new tricks and techniques for taking care of equipment or paving roads or putting in signposts and some of those other examples you see, and then we take that information and then disseminate it to all the other townships and boroughs throughout the state so that other people can replicate it through our technology transfer process. So we feel it's a really good program. We get, like I said, about 10 to 15 submissions each year, so it's something that the guys like to do and look forward to each year, and we think it's a great innovation that can be applied through other organizations too. If you want any further information on PennDOT LTAP or the Build a Better Mousetrap program, please let me know. My email is pwright@pennoni.com and my phone number is 717-265-6143. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, let me know.